Hi, my name is Shenarri. We are currently inside of Cadence in the East Village of New York City. So we opened Cadence in March of 2021. The overall vision was to provide a space that had vegan, plant-forward food with a focus on Southern and soul food cooking. So that was the initial vision. We didn't think that it would become what it is today, which is definitely a staple restaurant here in New York, but also I think throughout the U.S. when it comes to vegan and plant-forward food. Definitely wanted to kind of shed a lens on how vegan food can be interpreted, but also a different lens for Southern and soul food cooking. So it's really exciting just to like merge the two things together and create something that is familiar to a lot of people, but also a little intriguing. The menu here is 100% vegan. We also do 100% soy free, so we're not focusing on any processed foods or any canned foods or things that are highly processed on the market. We like to cook with solely vegetables and fruits here. We're also cooking with a lot of Southern soul food classics and giving like a different interpretation of them, evolving a lot of classic soul food dishes that you may be used to seeing, but of course they're all vegan and plant-based. Favorite item on the menu definitely has to be the Southern fried lasagna. That's been on the menu since day one. It's a staple here, it's a classic, and it's pretty much what everyone comes here for. This comes with a red wine bolognese and a pine nut ricotta, along with a fresh tomato basil sauce that we make here in-house. We have another dish called a palm cake, which is pretty much like a vegan crab cake. We make it with hearts of palm. That comes with a slaw made out of zucchini, carrots, and red onions. And we do a nice chipotle aioli, and we put a little bit of sauce on top as well. Yes, I think a lot of people have many different expectations when it comes to Southern food or soul food. And I think, just kind of taking the idea of that and my background growing up eating Southern soul food, flavor and texture is the main thing that you want to focus on when cooking vegan soul food, because you have to replace all of the meat components. So whether it's using different fats instead of animal fats, whether it's playing around with different textures, different vegetables, and different cooking applications to that, we are definitely kind of highlighting all of that here and showing people a different way to enjoy their favorite soul food dishes. I think the restaurant industry is definitely highlighting a lot more vegetables these days. You're starting to see a lot of vegan restaurants or plant-forward restaurants or vegetable-led restaurants and farm-to-table, so that's really exciting. I think it is one of those things, there's a demand for it. I think people are a lot more health conscious. I think people are very much more interested in vegetables a lot these days. So I think that we're definitely ahead of the curve, but I think a lot of people are kind of picking up on the trend of it. So there's a really high rise in like vegan vegetable restaurants these days. I think people are interested in vegan, plant-forward cooking in restaurants for a lot of reasons. I think the environment is definitely one. I think people are being a lot more health conscious as well, but I think overall it comes to sustainability, whether it's for the planet, whether it's for your personal health or the health of your environment. I think that's what it all comes down to. I've been cooking for about 12 to 13 years. I would say initially I started by cooking by accident, which happens to a lot of people. I was in college in Washington, D.C. I needed a job. I was a college student, so I actually started cooking at a concert venue, which was really exciting. I got to see free concerts and I also got free food. And it was also my first introduction to vegan and plant-based cooking. I did that for about 4 years, didn't really think anything of it, but I ended up staying in the restaurant industry, the service industry, hospitality industry. I worked my way up through a lot of different restaurants, mostly front of house, but a little back of house as well. It wasn't until I personally was interested in a vegan plant-based diet that I was interested in becoming a chef, which prompted me to relocate to New York City, attend culinary school at the Institute of Culinary Education for a plant forward program. During this time, there was a pandemic, which we all remember, and I started. Once the restaurant industry kind of opened up a little bit more, I started working with Overthrow Hospitality. And it was one of those situations, right place, right time. The space, Cadence, became available. I was a chef. So, the ideal was birthed from that. And going into that project, I talked with the partners of the company, kind of pitching ideas back and forth. And we thought, why not bring vegan soul food and Southern food to the city? So that's how Cadence started. Now, we have another restaurant in LA called Ubuntu, where we're focusing on West African cuisine, inspired cooking through a vegan lens as well. So now we have 2 restaurants. So I think I have a lot of innovative ways, a very different approach to vegetables that perhaps other people may not. An example would be pine nut ricotta, where you're taking pine nuts and chickpea miso, lemon juice, salt, pepper, water, and just blending that up to make like a vegan cheese. Again, that is just the results of trial and error, trying to make something out of very little. So I think, I kind of hit that wall a lot when cooking and doing vegan and plant-based cooking, but it's all about recipe development. Other things, I would say looking at perhaps food you grew up eating and kind of trying to figure out a different way to approach that without the animal fats and perhaps like meats and dairy products. That's also another way you can get really creative and innovative. It's kind of what I've been doing with vegan soul food, and now it's something that I'm looking at with West African cooking and West African cuisine. So, looking at these traditional recipes as they are and then kind of plugging in different vegan alternatives. So perhaps taking out an animal fat and replacing it with like some type of vegetable fat. So maybe like an avocado oil or a coconut oil or like a palm oil or something else. And you'll find that through these changes and switches, you'll find that not only will you get a different taste, but perhaps a completely different creation. And then you start adding in a few different seasonings, and then you start adding in a few different cooking techniques, and then you create something completely new, but based off of a traditional dish. So I think people should definitely kind of incorporate that approach when looking to pay homage to family recipes or beloved dishes and trying to figure out a way to put your own spin on it. So in terms of cooking with the seasons and cooking local, how to kind of create a menu that reflects that, we like to, for the bulk of the menu, we like to cook things that are perhaps in season all year long, things that we have access to. And then certain things will change out seasonally. So for instance, we have a cobbler here. When it's apple season, we're doing apple cobbler. When it's peach season, we're doing like peach cobbler. So we do change those things out, along with like seasonal compotes. We do different salads throughout the different seasons. So we definitely stay on top of that, but we'll just kind of switch out certain vegetables or fruits that may not be in season and just incorporate that into the dish. That way, we definitely have favorites on the menu. So that way people aren't losing those favorites on the menu, but they're getting like a different interpretation of it, which guests get really excited about. Something else, another example would be our cornbread. Like cornbread is all season long, of course, but our jams on the side definitely change. We have like a peach cardamom jam, but right now it might be like a pear cardamom jam or like a mango chutney jam or something like that. So definitely staying on top of things that are seasonal, but also keeping those like staples on the menu and just kind of switching them out as needed. My tips for anyone interested in cooking vegetables or vegan or plant-forward cooking, experiment. Visit your farmer's market, talk to the farmers, build those relationships, and see what's in season, see what's growing or what's coming up, and talk to these people about these vegetables and these fruits and how they can be used, or how the farmers are using them, or just how to incorporate it into your cooking. I would say definitely experiment. There's a lot of trial and error that goes into vegan and plant-based cooking, because you have to get creative. You have to kind of think outside the box. You have to be innovative. You have to be daring and really just take it to the next level, because you are doing something transformative to a plate. So I think just getting out there and trying something new and being open-minded is the best thing you could do. And also just create your own lane. You don't have to do what anyone else is doing. You can kind of create anything that you want. And I think that's the beauty and the magic of vegan and plant-based cooking.